Hey guys, Marsing and here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so yeah, the time has finally come. The short arc that we've been having in Dokkan of buffing the crossover category and finishing off all of these forgotten units is finally coming to a close with the 5 Dragon Ball Fusions units that did not have awakenings finally getting Dokkan awakenings. These were the only summonable SSRs in the game that did not have awakenings. And so now, I'm sure there's one that I'm probably missing. If there is, you can point it out down below in the comments. But as far as I am aware, every single summonable SSR in the game now awakens into a TUR. So I'm going to go through the details of the 5 Fusions awakenings. I'm not going to go over the easy A's because obviously they're kind of old news now, but I wanted to talk about these. I haven't read through what they do, so this is going to be a surprise for me as well. And even though you can't see me, this is kind of like my first reaction. I'm really hoping that the Janembao is good. I've always thought his card was kind of cool. Obviously with Baby Janembao from the Heroes stuff being so good, it would be pretty awesome to run them together if he's good. And obviously I think Selzer has potential because obviously he has big bad bosses, so that could be interesting. But we have to start off, of course. I knew you were all drawn in by the sheer power emanating from that thumbnail. We have to start off with the god himself, CHIAOMAN. So CHIAOMAN getting his awakening. His leader skill is physical types, 3 key, HP, attack and defense, 80%. I don't know why, if they're going to awaken units like this after so long, they give them such pointlessly low leader skills. Like, he could easily be a 100 or even 120% leader for physical at this point, and it's still not exactly the craziest leader skill in the game, but there you go. So his super attack, he does supreme damage to all enemies while sacrificing 10% HP. And then his passive is attack 80% and defense 160%. Attack 80% when performing a super attack. And then he gets key plus 8 and an additional attack 200% when HP is 50% or less once only. So interesting to see just how high of an attack stat he could actually hit when that last part of his passive goes off. Obviously, he's nothing too crazy. The 160% defense is obviously pretty decent. Attack 80% extra buff when performing a super. We're seeing a lot of units get these when performing a super buffs lately, which is good because they do extra when you factor in like links and support units and all that kind of stuff. So that's definitely interesting. And then yeah, it'll be cool to see what his attack stat is when he gets that big attack. Obviously, the problem with him still is the fact that he sacrifices HP when he super attacks. I've never really been a huge fan of units like that, especially when to get his big buff, you have to be at 50% or less, and then him super attacking is costing you another 10% HP. But as far as I'm aware, this should activate at the start of the turn, so then obviously you could heal up and then not be at such a disadvantage. But yeah, there you go, CHIAOMAN. Obviously, he still suffers from having really bad links as well, which is not ideal. And like many of the other Fusions units, he's not on a huge amount of categories, but it'll be interesting to see what he's like. All those people that joked and memed about link leveling him, be kind of interesting to see what he will actually be like at full level 10 links. But there you go. There is your god, CHIAOMAN. And we'll move on to who's next. Okay, Selzer is next. So this is one that I'm quite excited for. He also has a types 3 key 80% leader skill, pretty pointless. His super attack is supreme damage to the enemy and greatly lowers defense. So he doesn't really have a particularly interesting super attack effect, unfortunately, just supreme damage. And then he gets attack and defense 100% start of the turn. Recovers 10% HP at the start of the turn. Obviously, that's always useful. Attack and defense 50% when performing a super attack when HP is 50% or more. So, he does have good links, which will obviously factor in. So, like, him compared to CHIAOMAN, for example, like, even though the numbers in his passive are not, like, crazy high, he does have really good links. So I feel like that's potentially why they held back a little bit for him. Because, I mean, the 50% when performing a super will be a decent buff. But he's got like Brutal Beatdown, Nightmare, Big Bad Bosses. Like, these are all links that will be fairly common on his teams because he is on Transformation Boost as well as Fusion and Crossover. So that is a team where he could actually potentially be quite useful. And that link set is going to be very, very good on that team. Art's pretty cool as well. A lot of these unawakened units had really basic art where it was just them like stood facing forward to the quote-unquote camera, I guess. But, like, some of these look really cool, so I quite like the Selzer one. So he does seem a little bit underwhelming on paper, but again, because his links are so good, I feel like, you know, when you've got him linked up with a decent partner, full level 10 links, he could actually be pretty strong. It's a shame he doesn't have a solid super attack effect, because then I feel like he could actually be really, really good. So, next up we have the Kulesa. I've always thought his design was kind of cool. So let's see. He has raises attack and defense and does supreme damage to the enemy as his super attack effect. So he infinitely stacks attack and defense. So obviously, straight away, that's a much better super attack effect. That's going to make him good for longer form events. He's got the same like pointless leader skill. And then his passive is attack and defense 100% when performing a super attack. Medium chance of launching an additional super attack. So units that infinitely stack having a built-in chance to additional is always really good. Chance of performing a crit plus 10% with each super attack performed, up to 30%. So, very, very interesting. So obviously, now the idea for this guy will be to give him as much additional as possible. Because then, potentially, you could get all 3 super attacks in the first turn to max out his 30% crit chance. So, he definitely could be interesting. Again, longer form events, he's obviously going to be good because he's an infinite stacker. So yeah, he seems pretty solid. And of course, he is on Transformation Boost, Wicked Bloodline, and Terrifying Conquerors, as well as Crossover and Fusion. So I feel like he could actually be a fairly decent unit for some of those teams. Wicked Bloodline hasn't seen buffs in a long time outside of obviously the big freezer from the download celebration, but this would be a very interesting unit to run on some of those teams. So yeah, he seems pretty cool. He definitely seems like the best out of the 3 so far. He's got a decent super attack effect, built-in chance to additional, and built-in chance to crit. It makes you wonder why they gave him all of this, and then like Selzer just doesn't have anything really in comparison. He doesn't have big bad bosses, I guess, but yeah. So next up we have Weirus. I've always thought his design was kind of interesting. So he was one of the first double orb changes that we got in the game. He has the same type of pointless leader skill, and then his super attack is supreme damage to the enemy and greatly lowers defense, so another fairly pointless super attack effect. He still changes tech and int orbs to physical, and then he gets attack and defense 120%, so fairly solid stat buff. Medium chance of evading enemies' attacks, so he has a 30% chance to dodge, just built in. With 5 or more key spheres obtained. So if you pick up 5 orbs, he has a 30% chance to dodge. And then attack and defense extra 70% when attacking with 7 or more key spheres obtained. So I feel like he could hit some reasonable numbers, I guess, if you are getting the 7 orbs, which usually would be super, super annoying. But, I mean, he is changing 2 types of orbs into physical. So I would imagine it's probably not super difficult to pick up 7 orbs with him. But it is still kind of annoying because those situations will present themselves where you just can't. And then obviously he's not going to be anywhere near as good. So again, I think the fact that he has no super attack effect, like even if he gets 7 orbs, he might hit a reasonably decent attack stat. But I don't think he's ever going to be too crazy. And then outside of Fusion and Crossover, he's on Realm of Gods, which, I mean, is a team that is stacked with some of the top tier units in the game. So is he ever going to see any like play on that team? Probably not. So a little bit disappointing for our boy Weirus. The art is still cool, but... And then we have Janembao. So this is the one I was really waiting to see. His art is actually really good. His art goes hard for no reason. That's super, super cool. So same leader skill for tech types. His super attack is he raises defense, so infinite defensive stack, does supreme damage to the enemy and lowers their defense. So at least he has a super attack effect. Infinite defense stacking is obviously good for longer form events. And then he has attack and defense 100%. An additional attack and defense 30% with each extreme class ally attacking in the same turn, self-excluded. So on a full extreme team, he's getting an extra 60% attack and defense every turn. Then he has a medium chance of evading enemies' attacks, and attacked enemies attack minus 30%. So that's actually pretty solid. The 30% chance to dodge, obviously it's not crazy high, but still pretty decent, especially if you're running him on a full extreme team, so you're getting 160% attack and defense every turn. Infinite defensive stack. So yeah, pretty good. You obviously want to give him some additional, you probably do want to give him some crit, so he's a unit that probably wants a decent mix of the two. maybe leaning a bit more towards the additional if you want to get as many of them stacks off as possible. The lowering attack is obviously useful for things like Super Battle Road. The fact that he does it on his passive, which means he'll do it even if you can't get a super attack with him. So he does actually seem pretty interesting. And again, he's on transformation boost and he's on margin power because he is part Majin Buu. So, I mean, I think technically, obviously it is the fusion of them together. So I guess it isn't like Buu absorbing Janembao, because that is the whole point of the fusion units. It's them fusing together. So, very, very interesting. Margin power transformation boost. I don't know if he would see use on margin power. I'm very interested to see how well he would run alongside the baby Janembao. I don't know how many links they actually share, though, because he's got fused fire, which obviously he's not going to have. Shattering the limit, shocking speed. I think they have those. Infinite regeneration. I don't know if he has that instead of metamorphosis. Brutal beatdown. He has a very interesting link set for the teams that he's going to be on. Because like Margin, brutal beatdown, infinite regeneration, good for Margin power. So yeah, he seems like he could be one of the better ones. I feel like it's between him and Kulesa as to who is the better, apart from obviously God CHIAOMAN, of course. But Kulesa and Janembao probably are the best of the bunch. Especially just because like they're going to be good for longer form events because they both infinitely stack. He has dodge built in. Very, very interesting. So let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know which one you think looks the best. Interesting to see that they're finally awakening these guys. I wonder when these will come to global, because they don't really seem... They're not tied into the, you know, Dual Dokkan Fest that's going to happen on JP in terms of theme at all. So in theory, these could drop at just any random time on global. So it'll be interesting to see when that happens. And like I say, let me know which one is your favorite down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.